as I have traveled around the country and listened to hearing after hearing, what we're really here about are the individuals who have experiences with Kratom that has changed the trajectory of their lives. And we're honored to have with us today one of those individuals to serve as a voice for the hundreds of advocates that I've heard from. And we'll invite Will Marsh to come and tell his story about Kratom. Will himself was a Marine and a veteran, and he found Kratom.
It's kind of a hard leap to follow all these incredible, as you said, legislators and politicians up here, but I will try my best. As Max said, my name is Will Marsh. I am from Raleigh, North Carolina, and have the privilege to come out here today to talk about something that's passionate to me, Kratom. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, John, Jim, Diane, Congressman, all for being here. This is an incredible opportunity. To back up a few years, as we just mentioned, I was in the service years ago. I did one stint, combat tour in the Middle East, over in Egypt in 2011, 2012, when they were dealing with some civil uprising over there. And for like most 21-year-olds, it was kind of probably one of the most exciting things I've ever done. I also became exposed to things that I wasn't normally used to dealing with as a child. It's a diverse culture, drugs and therapeutic remedies, vices were a thing over there, both over there and in the military in general. And so when I came out and when I finished, I was not adequately equipped as a 22-year-old to be able to handle those things in society, which started a very negative path downwards toward addiction. Things I was getting into that I didn't even understand how I was damaging myself or my future or my health. And so it was actually 5 years ago, back in 2019 in February, this exact week, I was here at this convention center, in this hall actually, for a different trade show. And those of you who have dealt with addiction may know that traveling can be an absolute nightmare. You have to plan, if you're using illegal things, how you get around that, carrying a supply with you. And that was my situation. I was planning on being here for 4 exact days at the Las Vegas Convention Center and brought just enough heroin with me to make myself last, to have my last dosage be right before I boarded the plane to come home. And that's what I did. Although when I was boarding that flight to come home, for some reason, when we were at the gate, the airline announced that they were canceling the flight. They didn't tell us why, or give us any refund or book us on another flight, just you need to find another flight home. So for a struggling addict like myself, this was a big deal. I didn't have a supplier here. I didn't know my way around this city or town. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, at that point, getting home was not the biggest priority. It was figuring out how to stop myself from going into full-on heroin opioid withdrawal, which is a major physical, mental, everything issue. So, in the several days that I waited on a flight here, as my body started to take on the horrific effects that it does with that particular type of addiction, I, like a lot of people, I got on Google and WebMD to start Googling my symptoms and finding remedies that would help with my ailments. And I came across all of this news and, I don't want to use the word propaganda, that kind of negative connotations, but testimonials, rather, of people sharing about this natural, legal health remedy that people were using for opioid addiction and detox, as well as a whole variety of other things. And I had actually never heard of it before. It was called Kratom. So I left the airport here. I went to the nearest tobacco, smoke, vape shop, whatever you want to call them, and actually purchased a product that I had never seen before, and went and took these pills. I didn't know much about it, but I continued to research them. It ended up being a godsend for those of you who believe in God here. It didn't fix my problem, but at the same time, it made it manageable, which started me on the path to recovery. And because of that, in the years since, not to tell too much of my own story here, but I had the opportunity to run for Senate in a very close race in my home state. I became a private pilot. I became a licensed skydiver and now travel the world competitively skydiving. Got to come and advocate for incredibly important things like we're doing here today with the Consumer Protection Act. And that all started with just a very simple direction in my path of going to see somebody who knew about Kratom and its effects and how to talk to consumers about it in this vape shop. And again, because of that, I'm alive and I'm here today. So, and I know that this story, it may be something that's similar to a lot of y'all's stories here, or other people that you may know that have struggled with addiction. So I hope to be a representative of that and to help share why that's important, because there's nothing special about me. I am like so many other Americans that struggle, whether it's heroin or opioids or pills, or I've heard so many stories today of how it's changed lives. And I want people to hear that, not just because it's important to me, it's important to those who are struggling, to those who haven't even grown old enough yet in America to understand the dangers of drugs or what addiction can do to you or do to your family. So I want to thank you guys for making this your mission, to help change our world for the better, so people can access this, to protect this product for both distributors and manufacturers as well as consumers. I think it has incredible potential. Some of our esteemed guests were talking about earlier the effects or the benefits of studying psychedelics and other natural remedies. It's an incredibly, I think as you mentioned, Jim, it's an incredibly underserved market in America. So this is important work. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for valuing this, and I look forward to seeing your work in years to come and how we make a better America.